Hi there, welcome to this session of do's and don'ts focusing on speech that will help you be more engaging during your upcoming training or workshop. Have you ever seen a good professional that was utterly confident in his field of expertise but looked unsure when he was about to train others on the skills and knowledge he masters so well? I have several examples in mind, but you certainly have yours too. It sounds somehow like if the trainer was not able to find the proper way to transfer his knowledge. He hesitates with the words to pick, he uses sentences like "we will try to do that a bit," and the speech is interrupted. For the attendees, it's difficult to follow. As you know, a trainer must show confidence. This must be reflected by your choice of words. However, if you focus on too many aspects like posture, body language, voice tone, you will automatically be less precise with your speech. Therefore, it's possible to use techniques and ready-made sentences to make a good impression while not having to think too much. Let's begin with words and expressions you should or should not use. Let's then talk about the best way to present an information, and after we will learn together some speech techniques to make sure you maximize the clarity and retention of what you are saying. Alright, we start with the do's and don'ts. First, ban all diminishing expressions like a little, a bit, a small detail. For example, don't say, "Today we will see a bit of that topic, then if we have time I will present you with a small case study you might encounter one day." Rather say, "Today let's learn everything you need to know about this specific aspect of that topic." Once it's perfectly clear for every one of you, we'll understand this interesting part on that other topic. As you can hear, instead of presenting a bit of a topic, we present everything about a specific aspect of the topic. Now, both can be strictly the same, but the second formula is way more engaging. If you know a little about the topic, you will be unsure and you will make mistakes, whereas if you know everything about a portion of the topic, then you become an expert at that part. Next, don't say, "I will try, maybe, if we have time." Words expressing uncertainty must be avoided as much as possible, because the delegates want to reach a defined outcome and there must be no doubt that you can help them achieve it. You must be sure about your content, your knowledge, your schedule, your ability to teach them, and their ability to learn from you to get to the defined learning outcome. There was something else you should avoid, and it was filler sounds. Filler sounds or words make you sound like if you don't know your content. Don't be afraid instead of creating a blank. That's perfectly fine to have pauses from time to time. Pauses interrupt your flow, therefore it makes your audience more attentive. Hearing filler sounds, in the contrary, is just not nice at all, and it conveys no information. It is utterly useless and will have a negative impact on your audience's focus. Second point about non-verbal noise to avoid: sighing. You know a sigh, this deep breath you take when you have to perform the admin work of your event at the end of the day. For most people, sighing is associated to disappointment, defeat, frustration, and even boredom. So not really the kind of message you want to convey during a training, right? You want to be optimistic. Sighing is done to use the alveoli in your lungs that you don't use with your normal amplitude of breath, and provides momentarily more oxygen to your brain to deal with a stressful situation or to solve a complicated problem. It is conveying a negative message, but what's tricky is that one doesn't usually sigh on purpose. Most of the time it's automatic and might happen as frequently as every 5 minutes. The point here is not at all to raise your attention to your breath on top of your verbal and non-verbal communication means. Just be aware of that, don't sigh too loud, and remember to breathe. Some other expressions are just destroying the interest of the audience. We have all heard one day someone say, "Excuse me, we have to go through this. I know it's boring, but it will be more interesting afterwards." How do you want someone to be interested once you have said that? It's like if you are doing a reset of the audience memory before they even hear what you have to say. You could directly skip this part and switch to the most interesting one. The delegate's retention would be almost the same. Next, never give a negative comment about your ability to train. We hear too often, "Sorry, I'm a bit nervous," or "I'm not a good speaker," or "My English is not that good," or I haven't much prepared, or whatever else. The more you believe that, the more true it becomes. So simply avoid these sentences on your legitimacy as a good trainer. In the same range of ideas, avoid also negative comments about your state of knowledge. I don't know. I've never done this before. I'm not sure about that. It's fine not to know, as long as it doesn't happen too often. But in this case, I don't know is not the most suitable answer. Prefer to acknowledge the question and find a way around to avoid saying you don't know while winning some time. For example, that's a very interesting question. I remember we've had this case indeed before. I'm going to find back during the next break the exact solution to give you the most accurate answer. Third point, don't make your audience think that you manage the timing badly. Sentences like, we don't have enough time for this, or let's see this quickly through as we are running out of time, simply denotes an accurate time management. For your audience, it's again an invitation to think you will deliver this part poorly because not enough time is allocated to it. Now, another thing we have all noticed at least once. You are sitting in a training or an event just after the introduction. The trainer wants to connect his computer to the beamer because he forgot to do it before, because he was in a rush, or for whatever else reason. And it doesn't work. He is getting nervous, nothing can be projected on the screen, and you are waiting and getting slowly but surely bored. From the trainer point of view, that's a poor start. That's why he's trying to keep the contact with you and say sentences like, I have always bad luck with technology. It's always in such situations that it refuses to start. Or, yeah, the device is too old, but I got no budget to change it. Or even, that's the fault of my colleagues. They used it last time and didn't put the right settings back. Even if we could think we have less hardware to care about during online training or webinars, it will not solve all technological issues, and that's for sure. Do you need to be convinced? Well, when was the last time that you heard, "Can you see my screen? No? Really? We still cannot hear you. I'm disturbed because I hear Hiko all the time. Can you please all mute yourselves?" Blaming the technology, blaming your colleagues, blaming the organization you are on is not a suitable solution. Now, I could very well tell you, yeah, that's your fault. You have to prepare in advance to avoid such situations. And that would be partially true, but unexpected occurrences sometimes just happen in a training. For instance, you have to change of training room suddenly right before or even during the session, or the material you normally use is already booked or suddenly just went missing. It vanished, or even sometimes the piece of hardware actually failed. Your computer, the beamer, the device or product you need right now to train on can fail. You have to know how to react when unexpected issues occur and understand the only problem you have is that the audience is at risk of getting bored. You just have to keep them entertained and busy until the issue is resolved. First alternative, the easiest, you send everybody into break to manage yourself time to resolve the issue. And that's fixed. Second possibility, you go on anyway, with a story and explanations, with a group discussion, with an exercise, if you have one adapted to this moment. Your PowerPoint presentations are only visual aids. Yours, a presentation and explanations told with no technological distractions might be very good to captivate your audience and build the confidence to continue until the next break, when you will have time to fix your problem. Third alternative involves delegates. If the beamer, for example, doesn't start, build a special task force among the audience with the mission of solving the issue with you and make it entertaining. If the product you are training on right now is not working, it malfunctions, why not troubleshooting it step by step with the audience? If you have the skills for that and if it's interesting for the delegates to know, of course you should do that. Otherwise, you could simply indicate them how and to whom to report the issue to get it fixed. The point is, don't stay stuck with the problem. Make something out of it. We could literally spend hours on the words and sentences to avoid, but let's now talk about the sentences that will have the biggest impact in your life as trainer, the sentences you should use. If you are a good trainer, you show some enthusiasm about your content, which in turn makes your training delegates enthusiastic. Some of this passion will reach them through the words that you pick up. That's a great product. We will have an amazing session. It will be very entertaining. I feel proud to teach on this great software I've been using myself for years. That's an accomplishment for me to be here with you today. Make sure they feel safe about asking questions and participating. For instance, you could say them, "I would love receiving questions from you, so don't hesitate to raise your hand if you have any doubt and I will answer with pleasure." There is no stupid questions, so let's make the best out of this training. I count on you to ask me any interrogation you might have. Alright, let's start. Next, sell your course. For example, you could say, "We have so much interesting content to go through this week. I am sure you will love it. I've enjoyed preparing this course myself so much, I'm happy to eventually present it to you after all the effort and time spent in the preparation." The beauty in it is that it also works for sections of your training. Like for example, the next part we are about to see is one of the most important. If there is only one thing you should remember, it's this. That's a super useful trick you need to know. It will change the way you work if you understand this part, so please make sure your ears are wide open and your brain is receptive, because we are going through an intense session of learning right now. Small tip, don't say "hi" and "me" all the time. A course is not about you and your experience, it's first and foremost about the attendees and their progress, how many new skills they will master, how much new knowledge they will acquire, and the behavioral changes this session will trigger on them. Instead, use "we" and "us" when you are doing something together with them. This will create a proximity with you and your delegates. Say, "Now we will learn about this," instead of "I will show you now how to master that." However, it's not a bad practice at all to use "you" during your training. If you want to ask your delegate to perform an exercise, do a specific task, if you want to immerse them in a specific situation, you can use the word "you." It's fine to say, "What should we do in this situation?" But now imagine this is a task that must be performed by a delegate alone and autonomously once the training is over. What should you do is more adequate, because they will have to reflect, decide and act by themselves. Let's end this video with another tip. Introduce and sum up every part of the training. Before every part, introduce the content you are about to go through, and right after, make a summary of what you have just seen with them. This can be 1, 2 or 4 hours content, it doesn't matter. The goal is to prepare your audience to receive the information, to indicate already why this is on the menu and why it's relevant for them. Plus, make sure they summarize well the information they have just received. This summary is something they will take away. The idea behind is that it first triggers their interest with an introduction to learn better, then you deliver your content which enables them to understand a concept, and eventually you summarize the main ideas. You define from all what they have understood, all what they have seen, what is the main information they should take home. This structured approach will make sure they don't just see, hear and forget. They get to know what's most important. Now it's your turn. Apply these techniques, keep your delegates' attention in mind, and make sure you understand what they feel to adjust your speech to them. Use positive and inclusive sentences that contribute to creating a favorable learning environment. Try this out and share your experience in the comments. I am impatient to see how you progress. Hit the like button and see you next time.